Welcome everyone to our webinar. We are live from Canada, my wife Christiane and I, and it is a great joy for us to share with you the knowledge of dreams and signs interpretation. We will study together during this webinar wonderful examples that we have received from the participants. And we will use these examples to study in depth the meaning of our dreams. It is extraordinary when we have access to this knowledge because it brings to us a spiritual autonomy. For those who don't understand or who are just beginning to enter in the aspects of studying our dreams, you will see how important it is. Because our soul is a living computer that records positive and negative memories through all our experiences. And in dreams, you have the possibility to have access to this knowledge. You have the possibility to have access to the data that constitute who you are, what you have to improve, or what is your destiny will become. Because with dreams, we can have access to the past, so we can visit the memories that we have accumulated over time. We can see the present time situation that we are going through positively, of course, or negatively if it's a difficulty. And we can have access also to the probabilities of what we can become, because the future is always in preparation and we can change it also if we improve ourselves. But there are also certain dreams that are related to situations that are about to happen. And sometimes they are part of our destiny and it cannot be changed, like a collective event or a situation like that. For certain people, dreams and signs interpretation can be like a mysterious aspect of life. But it is very, very logical. It's a language based on symbolic language. And this language is based on the notions that everything we see, everything that exists, is at first a state of consciousness. It represents either qualities, either weaknesses, distortions, or sometimes a little bit of both. Like a car is not just a car. If you receive a dream about a car, it talks about the way that you advance on a social level. So if you have a dream about an accident, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a car accident, but it means that you have difficulties in terms of advancing on the social level. So to manifest yourself, to go to, to manifest on the social situation, to go to work, etc. So this will have a direct access to the way you are, the way you live your life. And you will feel it, because when we have a nightmare, of course, we wake up, sometimes we are all mixed up, we are all confused, we don't feel good also, because this energy, the states of consciousness, the information, the data is like circulating inside our body and inside our nervous system and brains and intelligence and feelings and actions, energy that will create our behaviors during the day. So this is very, very important, friends. It is, I think, one of the most important knowledge that we all have to receive. And you will see, we will start to study certain dreams, a series of dreams now, to start this webinar, of a man, 65-old man, who receives a series of dreams that are very, very interesting about his life. And through the dreams, we will understand more and what he is going through, and certain situation, concrete situation also that he has been challenged with. So if you have questions during the webinars, you can chat with me at UCM Publishing. You see it, you can write. If it's appropriate, then I can answer your questions, or we can keep the questions for future webinars. If you have technical questions, you can chat directly to Eloi Delmonico. So he's there for you to answer your questions. And so he's in Europe, Eloi, so I say hello to him and to all his family. So, and he's going to be able to answer if you have questions related to the technical aspects. So my wife will be there with us after the intermission. So, and she will also share some very, very interesting dreams and symbols that we're going to be studying together during this webinar. So we welcome you. We thank the UCM also team, all the volunteers from all around the world that helps and participate to organize these monthly webinar. So let's start now with our first example. First dream that we have received at webinar at ucm.ca. So when you have dreams, when you have questions, you can write to us, and all the questions we receive are shared eventually in webinars, of course in an anonymous way also. So we never say the names, etc. So it is like a universal information for all of us. Okay, so let's study this dream. So it's called In Search of Meaning. So Shalom, please help me. Tell me what all these dreams and visions mean. So I dreamt of the heavenly stars in the dark of the night cloud sky. Then a shift took place and I saw billions of white stars covering the dark night sky. I could not count them all, too many to count. Physically, there were so many stars and light covering the heavenly sky. What a beautiful sight. And also, there was mention of a new inheritance for me. So, of course, we can imagine that it is a very, very beautiful dream, extraordinary scenes. And this is not just a dream that is related also to just going outside and then we look at the stars and we feel good. It's much more deeper than that. When you have a dream, it enters in your destiny. It triggers also your way of being, living, thinking. So a dream is like not just like a vague information. It's a program. And this one is particularly important because there are certain dreams sometimes that you can see the mood of the day. You can see how you feel emotionally, and it can be like, of course, it's always important. Even small dreams are very important. Be careful not to say, oh, I have this dream doesn't mean anything and this one is very important. No, all of them are very important. But this dream is more like a program, and this will shift his consciousness. And I know what I'm talking about because I have received dreams like that 20 years ago when I started to have this huge opening of consciousness and transformation that I went through to have now this knowledge and to be able to share it with you. So the fact that he's seeing like a lot of stars like that. A star is a sun. So, from a very, very far galaxy. So it's like a huge opening of a dimension of time and space, in a sense that a dream like that will create what we call an opening of consciousness. The opening of consciousness is like when you start to see things differently, when you start to become very spiritual. And it is like you start to see multi-dimensions more and more. You start to feel things differently. You have a connection with God, with the universe. And when we receive dreams like that, it shifts our consciousness completely. And it can be very difficult after a beautiful dream like that. We have to understand, because imagine let's say you have like an opening of consciousness, and a dream about a situation that you see the galaxy. So you have everything that is happening on Earth in your consciousness. So imagine seeing so much stars. So you have so much information, billions and billions and billions of information that are activated in you, and that starts to create a multidimensional aspects of seeing life and situations. So after that, the positive and the negative also will be awaken eventually, because you start to see more. The sun is related to the light. It's related to emissivity, also the masculine energy, feminine and masculine energy. We all have this in us. The feminine energy is the inner world. The masculine energy is the manifestation. So the moon is related to the night, so it's related to the feminine energy, and the sun is related to a masculine energy. So that's important to understand that all of us, we have masculine and feminine energy. We're not talking about men and women here. So that's important. I have a feminine energy, an inner woman inside of me, because I am a man, and when we are a woman, we have an inner man. So a masculine energy inside and feminine energy in manifestation. So a soul's got both polarities. So that's important to remember that, friends. Because when we study dreams, we don't talk about man and woman, we talk in terms of polarities. So that is a very, very interesting dream that will create a huge, this person has got a huge opening of consciousness, a huge activation of the spiritual potential because of what he's seeing. And you will see after that, because he has shared many dreams with us, this man. So you will see this was like an activation of program, and then after that, then you can start to receive other dreams that will come to you, and that will create so much information in many, many, many directions. Because when we have an opening of consciousness, then it creates the opening of the notions where you need to understand, to evolve the knowledge of good and evil, because we need to be one day in the notions of understanding evil as a forces of evolution, and not as a forces that we need to combat. Of course, we can say no when something is negative. We can structure, we can educate, we can take someone and he's going to go to jail because he needs to think about what he has done. This is the notion that is okay. We need to structure, educate, etc. But it has to be done with a lot of profound knowledge and not with negativity. It has to be done with notions of being wise and being involved in a sense that we want to help others to transform themselves and to evolve. That's what God is all about. He is above good and evil. And evil is there, in a sense, to create negative forces that will stimulate good, stimulate our evolution. So in dreams, we learn that. And one day we de-dramatize nightmares. Of course, certain people can say, yeah, but why is he saying that? Why Kaya is talking about that? Well, this is such a beautiful dream. Because I see and I know that I went through that. I had that at the beginning. And after that kind of dream, I started to have a huge opening of consciousness. And then I started to receive many, many dreams and nightmares. And because this was at the beginning, when we have an opening of consciousness, we start to, wow. And that's the first step. Like, wow, we connect. And then then the real work starts to begin. So let's see with the next dream that he has received after that. The same man that received a dream with the stars. He dreamt, I live in homeless shelter apartments and I lost everything. So what is the meaning of that? So this is like he is visiting memories in him, memories that are related to lacks, all things that we haven't got, that we would have loved to have, and all this. He's 65 years old, so he's got memories where things didn't work, and all this is still part of him. So, and through the opening of all these stars and a sun, the light is related to knowledge. So, with the light, then you can see in your apartment everything that is okay, but you can see also if the apartment is not clean, etc., if there are dust and stuff like that. So then you can start to see things. But so many people, they are asking God to have an opening of consciousness, but most of the time they don't know what it means. They think that they're just going to have the wings and they're going to start to fly and see lights and see beautiful things. No, 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 friends. So the real knowledge is like to be like a leader. When you are a leader of a company, for example, and you have 100,000 of employees, you're not just seeing the good news. You need to manage the bad news also, because you need to make decisions and you need to make sure that the bad news will be solved, so this way will not affect the company. It's the same thing when we have an opening of consciousness. We have eyes, and our eyes are open, our emotions, our everything is open, so we perceive things and we can see the positive aspects and also the negative aspects of things, people, situations. So to have an activation of consciousness is a huge, huge, huge opening. And a lot of people, I have to admit that a lot of people are sometimes, on a spiritual path, and they overthink positively. They are just pushing, forcing, to say to someone, oh, you have a problem, but don't worry, God will be there, Jesus will be there, or Buddha will be there, or whatever. And then you push and push and push on a positive way without saying, okay, so why are you going through that? What is the wisdom that you need to develop to solve that? What's the reason why you have created this situation in your life? So look at yourself. Look at, why you have this resonance, why you have attracted the situation. Because one day, friends, we understand that life is like a dream. It is a dream. People are part of us. Situations are there only to educate, to help us to evolve. Matter is an illusion. It's an illusion related to education. Of course, some of you will say, what is he saying? It's not an illusion, it's there. Yes, it is there. I agree. But it is what it means that is important. It is what it triggers in you that is important. Let's say you arrive, it's a winter day, there's very cold day outside, and then you open the door of your house and you have a warm fire that is there, and then the house is warm, and then you go near the fire, and then you have a feeling. It is the ambience, everything. You feel comfortable. You have the ambience of the heat. All this creates transformation in you. So this is the same thing with everything. With everything, it's connected to states of consciousness and situations that are there to evolve. You go to work to evolve, to develop qualities, to become a better person. You have a family and it's like a dream. You live all sort of experience exactly like in dreams. And we know, because if you are watching this webinar right now, that's because you have a connection with dreams or nightmares, and you are sometimes disturbed by that because you don't know what it means yet. And it can be like confusing because you're a good person, and then you receive nightmares that are sometimes so intense. But remember, you're not only the nightmare. You need to de-dramatize negative information, and you need to see that in terms of consciousness, in terms of education, and in terms of percentage. Percentage. A nightmare that you receive, sometimes you are only 0.0008% of the nightmare. Memories, negative memories that are creating this nightmare to explain a region of your inner territory, inner world. And there's only one region that, like in life, there's a city somewhere, there's a war somewhere in a country or in a special region of the country, but it's not everywhere on the planet. You see, you have other parts of you that are in peace. So it's the same thing with your consciousness. You have certain region in your brain where when you do certain things like that, it's difficult. For example, emotional relationship. You have trouble with that. Difficulty, you have like already two divorced and you would love to find the right person, you know, to have like a beautiful love relationship, and it's not working for you, but you're very successful at work. You're like this businessman or businesswoman, and you have a lot of success and you have a lot of money, everything is going well, but the region in your inner world related to love is in difficulty. So you have memories in that department of your consciousness that has to be transformed, because you have created that in your life. You have attracted difficulties in love relationship because it is in connection with past actions, ways of thinking and feelings in the past, and we always reap what we sow. So that is important, very important to understand the mechanism of the consciousness in terms of connection with the unconsciousness also. That is in parts that we don't know about ourselves. We have the conscious part, we know certain things, but there are other memories that we have inside of us that we don't have necessarily always access. And when something happened, then these unconscious memories comes to us, and then we see that we attract certain people, certain situation. So in this dream, we can say also that an illness is related to memories relating to the notions of dropping out, not wanting to continue things, because he was, it was difficult, and then, he went through certain difficulties in his life, and then sometimes it's difficult to have motivation to do that. But of course, he's not an homeless, so he's got only maybe 4% of memories related to this situation. You see, friends, how important? And this 4% will be in lack of motivation. Let's say his brother is asking him, "Hey, would you like to come and help us? We were just going to paint our new farm, and then painting. Oh, I'm going to have to see people. I don't feel like sharing with my brother." And then, and it's creating that. And you prefer to go to read, or you prefer to be only with yourself. So you're not a homeless. You're not in the street, you see, abandoning all the family. But you have resistance when it's time to fuse, when it's time to be implicated with others, because of these memories that are there. And this, the fact that losing everything in terms of percentage can be like all the little part that didn't work, that has been accumulated and then created memories of dropping out, progressively. Of course, if you continue to nourish that negative percentage, eventually the 4% can become 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, and then eventually If you cross the 50% line, then your life can completely shift. And then certain things can happen. You start not to pay your bills and etc. You don't want to go to work, and then eventually you lose your job because you drank all night and then you didn't wake up. And then eventually the boss starts to see that. And then, when you become a homeless, it's not something that happens like that. And most of the time, it's connected to mental illnesses also, because you have like memories in you that are creating so much difficulties to connect people, things, and eventually you avoid these connections because you have so much, you've been hurt. You've been hurt on top of being hurt, on top of being hurt, on top of being hurt. And all these data eventually creates a real situation, a real nightmare. So you see that a dream is a program that explains percentage, memories, accumulations of positive aspects when it's a beautiful dream. Like the other dream, of course, this one, it's like, wow, lots of stars, lots of wow, it's like he's going to feel things, see things more, but not only what he likes. That's the point of a spiritual awakening. When we have a spiritual awakening, that's why sometimes we don't feel good. We feel good when we are at the church or at the synagogue or at the ashram or in the temple, whatever our faith or whatever the culture that we've been raised. So we feel good when we are there. We feel good when we practice certain rituals and prayers and meditation. But when it's time to face something difficult, then that's when the real spiritual work starts. Not only when you feel good. And a lot of spiritual people sometimes, they escape. They are specialists of escaping. And because they are good people and they just want to feel the good energy, so they start to avoid people, situation, etc. They try to create the perfect world. But the perfect world is not by escaping. It is not by avoiding situation. It is by transcending. It is by the notions of being capable, like a leader of a company, be able to take a decision, and then it creates a change. It creates an evolution. It creates a reform that will bring positivity and stability eventually. Because if we don't take care of negativity, eventually negativity will come and will grow. It's like if you don't take care of your teenagers and he's got certain behaviors and you never say anything and you always do what he wants and you give him the money, without asking questions, etc. And you know that he's not taking the right direction in his life, then eventually, by not saying no, the negativity will become his personality, and eventually you will not be able to stop. The forces will be too strong and it can collapse the relationships and the family eventually. So don't be afraid about this dream. It doesn't mean you're going to lose your bank account. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to go through bankruptcy. It means you have percentage. You're visiting memories, accumulations of sadness and accumulations of, every time your wife, for example, she's asking something too intensively. And then suddenly you don't hear. You just, you don't hear. You hear what you want to hear, so you start to create these notions of disconnection with others. And then eventually she's going to repeat and repeat. And then you feel, you just go in the garage or you go outside. And then these are little part of energy related to that kind of situation. Concretely, this man is sharing with us, I have been to the hospital twice this year for the same heart diseases and sickness afflictions. I refused surgery and procedures because it has been prophesied that God will heal me and amaze the doctors. Let me come back to this dream. This dream is a huge spiritual awakening, but this can create sometimes disconnection with realities. And you see then this dream that creates like a disconnection also, these kinds of percentage of memories. And this concrete situation can be a little bit energy related to spiritual extremism. Because maybe the doctors are sent by God. Have you thought about that? So maybe the next chance, because now science and technology, it's very important when we are a spiritual person not to be extremist and to understand that God can use any kind of form to help us to evolve. Sometimes we just wait for miracles, but the miracles can come by the help of someone else, not necessarily just by meditation and prayers. So we need to be open to everything. And of course, I'm not saying to you, get this operation. It is your decision. This is your decision. But what I'm telling you, and the way that you have like written this situation, I can tell you that you have memories of spiritual extremism, and you kind of play the homeless person, you don't want to have the help of society. So you have a mix of energy related to the homeless, social, discrepancy sometimes, and also an intense spiritual awakening, a huge one that can sometimes create this notion where you put doctors and all tradition medicine on the side because you think that this is not good, this is matter, this is like not important. And that is the place where I always say, when we are a spiritual person, we are our feet on the ground and we have our head in the stars. So we can marry spirit and matter, because medicine, all this possibility that are there, they are also manifestation of God. They are also the materialization of states of consciousness. A doctor, the positive aspects of a doctor is the materialization of the energy of healing, of helping to heal people. And that energy comes from the universe. Everything comes from God. Everything comes from states of consciousness related to qualities or human distortions. And all this creates situation, life, etc. And so that is very, very important, I think. And maybe you're online right now and you are watching this webinar. And in your position, I would really, really do a meditation about, am I too extremist in my choices? Am I closing the door to God's help? Because the miracle can come from the doctors, and especially certain diseases and certain difficulties, like heart diseases, etc. This is something that is more and more easy to handle in the medical professions. So you see how sometimes this huge dreams of having all the stars, it creates like, wow, such an opening, but it can create a discrepancy also. And this is why we see a lot of people, when they have spiritual awakening, they have like, they can have like a huge mystical experience that creates disconnection with their real life. And they have difficulty to go to work, they have difficulty to manifest in a family, to have a wife or a husband, and they become monks, and they just think, that only God exists in form of an energy. They don't understand the manifestations of the energy of God through everything that exists and through the resources of the earth. So let's study another dream that is quite interesting, also very interesting, and that is really in connection with our subject. So several years ago, I had a vivid dream or vision pertaining to my healing. I saw this huge angel standing over me while I was praising and worshiping God, standing over me at the altar. There was a kneeling angel, and my arteries were cleansed and cured. Over the years, my heart disease got worse. Nonetheless, I keep my supernatural faith for a miraculous healing for my heart. What is the meaning of a dream like that, friends? I've been traveling the world now. You know that, our books are now in 43 countries around the world. And my wife and I, we've been meeting so many people for the last 20 years, helping therapists, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists with the knowledge of dreams and science interpretation. And this dream is like explaining, because the heart diseases continued to go worse and worse. So it explained that the angel can be a doctor, friend. It can be a doctor, because when they came to you, they said, we can help you. So you didn't make the connection that the angel can take any form, that can come in a person, in a real person, or in a doctor. So this dream, let's now study this dream in detail. So several years ago, of course, we need to go back many years ago, because it was like in a certain period of your life. I had a vivid dream or vision, and to my healing, I saw the huge angel. The fact that it is a huge angel, do you think it is normal? A huge, I mean, he must be probably like a giant angel. So this is related to a complex of superiority. You've never thought about that an angel can be a negative symbol in a dream. Oh, what am I saying? Some of you will say, that's impossible. That's an angel. No, yeah. I'm sure you have seen certain people that they call them angels, and they are not angels. We can take like the positive sign and say, I'm an angel, but you're not an angel, because you're not doing nice things or good things to people, and etc. So in terms of consciousness, in dreams, the fact that it is a huge angel, it's related to a complex of superiority of your spiritual forces in you. Because in dreams, you are the angel. It is not just an exterior aspects of yourself. It is the manifestations of the resources that you have access in the universe, the kind of resources that you have access. So that's very important when we see, I remember a dream about a woman that shared about a dream about Jesus, and Jesus was completely depressed in her dream. So I told her, this got nothing to do with Jesus. This is your inner Jesus. It is the representation of what Jesus represents for you, which is your faith, which is like the highest spiritual potential that you have in you, that is in trouble. And she recognized it after. She said, yes, I'm always crying when I watch TV, the bad news, and the world is upside down. So I told that woman, I said, this is your inner Jesus that is in difficulties. So this huge angel is related to a complex of superiority in your spiritual power and your belief system also. Standing over me while I was praising and worshiping God. So you see, you pray, you have a great receptivity, but at the same time, you have this huge angel. It could have been like an angel, with light, not a huge one. The huge is the negative part. That's why. And we say the huge, there's so much stars that you can't count them. All this, you always have like the big things, that creates extremism when we don't master, when we don't understand, when it's too much. So the forces are too strong. So when it is too strong, it is not right. Because when we are too strong with anything, if you bring too much light in a conversation, too much information to a person that is not ready, the other person will close herself, and and then what's going on? Go on the street now and just say to everybody, God is beautiful, God is beautiful, and you just say, try to touch people and say God is beautiful. You will see how people is going to be afraid of you. You see that huge angel. That's what we have here. And there was an healing angel, and my arteries were cleansed and cured. But it is a huge angel, so it means that your arteries, your heart, your motivation is so strong that you have fused, you have activated an healing process. It's like you become a superhero with powers on the spiritual level, but also with beautiful things in you. I'm sure, but at the same time with too much. And you're going to be the kind of person that's going to pray too much for others, that's going to force people to believe, force people to connect with God. And I am sure that you have probably lost some friends or some entourage. Maybe they think sometimes that you are a little strange. And I know that what it is, because 20 years ago, I talk about that in my book, Becoming an Angel, The Path to Enlightenment. I talk about that. I went through this extreme part of being too much spiritual. So that I'm talking, with real life example. So, and this is why this book, Becoming an Angel, is a very, very special book to avoid the notions of becoming an extremist in our way of approaching. And being an extremist doesn't mean that we're gonna put bomb, in train station. It just means sometimes that we push too much. Something we love, we like, we want the world to change, and we don't understand that there's a clock for everybody, and there's a time, for in the evolution of everybody, and the universe is not, there's no late process. Everything is perfect. And there are people that they are in kindergarten in terms of consciousness, and others they are at college, and others at university. So there are different levels of evolution, and we need to respect that, because when we push someone that is not ready, it triggers the opposite. The person is just going to refuse the spiritual path more than embracing it and wanting to believe it. So over the years, my heart diseases got worse. So we see the situation there, in a sense, because over the years, many years, you should have been treated, healed right away when you wake up in the morning. So, but you needed to work on yourself at the same time. And of course, that dream was explaining that you were healing the spiritual faith in you. You have a spiritual heart and you have a physical heart. The spiritual heart was so strong in you and was growing, and that's why you were so believing that you even wanted to put doctors away of your life. So you see how this can affect your life now, because just not understanding a dream. And there's a lot of people like that. And certain therapists, we have so much therapists now that are following the DSSI training program that we give, because we need to understand well our dreams, so this way we can manifest well also. And when we understand the dreams well, then we know this. When we wake up, we say, yes, you have a great potential, spiritual potential, sir. No doubt about that. You're a great person. You're a wonderful person, but you're too great sometimes. You're too much. Just calm down a bit. Just get some more knowledge, so then you will master more, unless you want to be loved, and unless you have all these homeless people that you see in terms of spirituality. Those who don't believe, you see them as homeless, and you want to bring them the light. You want to save them all, you see? And they are not necessarily ready to have the light. So over the years, my heart disease, so I keep my supernatural faith for miracles healing for my heart. So we have a question from one of the participants about the subject that we are sharing now. And the person is sharing, very interesting aspect. I am unclear about the positive association with a healing and the huge angel being related to an extreme attitude. Is there a difference between the huge angel and the healing angel? Yes, yes, there is a difference, of course, because this is what I was talking about. He's got the positive aspects, of him, of the angel, and of the potential of helping others and bringing messages also, because the angel is a symbol of knowledge, is a symbol of having connection between spirit and matter. So because the angels have always been in connection with with who you are and who we are, all of us. We are all angels in training, because being human, and this is what I talk about in the dream, and not in the dream, but in the book, Becoming an Angel. I explain that we're all humans. We're all angels in training, all of us, because being human is not enough. When we are angels, that's because we embrace our dreams, our spiritual potential, spiritual powers, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. We develop mediumnity, understanding of wisdom, applications of wisdom. We become spiritual people. An angel is a spiritual person. The wings are just a metaphor. You don't need to have wings to be an angel. It's not practical to have wings when you take your shower or when there's a cat around. So this is just a metaphor in symbolic language. It's a very ancient symbol to represent spiritual people. So that's why in this dream you have the huge angel and the healing angel, and it creates a duality because the huge one is somehow the most important one. So creates a complex of superiority that creates not the right vision of understanding that doctors can help. So you see how sometimes lots of people in the spiritual world, sometimes they have these kind of discrepancies. And of course, we don't need doctors for everything. We need doctors when we have signs and dreams that this can be okay. And when we know that science and technology can help us. So then we can open that door, unless, of course, we try to do everything through energy and through the inner work, because we have spiritual powers. Even this person, even a heart condition or cancer, whatever, we can be treated by our own energy. I believe in miracle. I have no doubt about that. No doubt. I know how it works. But I know that sometimes God wants us to go through normal medication, normal doctors, because we're not strong enough, and we need to take time because there's things that we need to learn through the process. We can have miracles. We can, when we have completed the cycle of learning, then things are much faster on the healing process in us. But it doesn't mean that you need to die to learn that and start again. You can understand that, and that is why I'm very happy that we touched this subject. So the same person answered, thank you. Too extreme in the spiritual and a healing will occur when there is a balanced attitude between the spirit and matter. That's right. That's really, really right, Sarah. You are right about that. So then we continue, because he's got another dream. So in my dream, my wife showed me the pre-construction for a high-rise condominium on the beach. It was beautiful. All thought it was under construction right on the ocean. She told me in the dream that this is the place she wanted to live in. We were walking throughout the high-rise floor. Several months later, I was walking by a closed realtor office, and I saw the picture of the luxury high-rise on the beach. Afterwards, I noticed the same condominium in several free magazines. The asking price is $10 million per floor. the whole floor. Although I cannot afford such a place, I believe one day I will own this home or a similar one. So you see, that is like, you see, you have dreams of being homeless, and then you have dream about having an apartment of $10 million. So we see again this notion where sometimes you want too much, or you don't want anything. That's the notions. You can even have memories about being a bipolar. I don't want to scare you, of course, but having these notions where you go up to the, high connection with God, and then eventually, boom, you go down, and you don't manage these forces. But saying that, being bipolar is like something that I can tell you that every spiritual person on an intense spiritual path will have percentage of bipolar energy or depression energy. It's quite normal. I explained that in the book Becoming an Angel. If I would have taken my dreams and nightmares and I would have seen at that time, 20 years ago, a psychiatrist, I can tell you, I would have so much pills to take, but I managed by myself, and I've done meditation, prayers, and I've connected with knowledge, transforming myself through the dreams I was receiving, improving myself all the time. So you see, you have extremist part in you, and you have too much needs in you. Because what's the fact of having an apartment of $10 million? When there's so many people on the planet that they don't eat, and why do you need, an apartment? It's not even a house; it's an apartment. So sometimes we can have like these notions of having discrepancies in us, because you are an intense person. I can assure you of that. I'm sure you're interesting. You're a wonderful being. You have great qualities, beautiful light, and you can be probably, if we have a lack of motivation, we can go and see you, and you are going to pump us, but maybe too much. Maybe too much. With a dream like that, you can have your great son, for example. He comes to see you, and he's got a project, and he's working on something, and then you're going to tell him, you're capable, son. You need to do that. You need to do that, and don't let anybody stop you. Go and fight and do anything to succeed. And then eventually, he takes that energy and he bypasses his associate, because he's like, I want to do it, and he doesn't want, but I'm going to sign the contract. And then the associate is not quite happy, because they were supposed to talk about this deal together. So he signed without his consignment. So then eventually they are fighting in court, and then they're having like 7 years of justice problems, and thousands of dollars are going there. Then he's losing the business with his associates, etc., etc. So you see, sometimes we can push people too much, and there's certain therapists, they need to be careful about that, because sometimes they think that praying God will like bring every wishes that we have. But if the wish is not right, do you think it's right to create that? You see, so sometimes, of course, we can have access to abundance. There's nothing wrong with that. We can be rich. There's nothing wrong with that. God wants us to be rich on all levels. But when we don't use, what's the purpose of being two-person in a house and having 12 bathrooms? Sometimes, too much creates a lack for others. And when we have a lot of money, just be wise with that. Do things well. Build great companies, give some great supports to employees. Do great for your children. Bring them to the best universities and scholarships. Help others if you can. do foundations, do all sort of things. You're going to be so happy, so busy, so like, wow, helping, making a difference on the planet. Instead of just like having like 20, 40 apartments in 20 countries of 10 millions each, and then you never go there, maybe once every 3, 4 years, 5 years. And, so you're paying for staffs, and it's just to take care of your ego. So anyway, that's a subject that is also quite interesting to understand. How to manifest well in life and in matter also. So another dream, another question that is interesting from another person. It's a recurring dreams, and my question is about recurring dreams. When I was young, in my God relationship for forming years, I would have a recurring dream of fairy tales, but there were always dark versions of the fairy tale. I've always wondered what that was about. So when we have spiritual symbols that are mixed with negativity, it means that we are a strong spirit, strong person, strong motivation, strong energy, great presence. But at the same time, we use it for our ego. So we take this huge potential that we have, but we don't think about others. We only think about ourselves, our needs and instincts, etc. So there's a lot of people that they are very intelligent, but they are experimenting certain things, but they are not necessarily acting well and doing things well for the world or for others. When we take a decision, it should be good for us and it should be good also for others. This is what a good deal is all about. In business, when you do a deal, it's always good for both parties. That's why they sign a deal together. But there are people, of course, that they are forcing others to sign deals that are not fair. And the other part, they are in a survival mode, so they need to sign because so then we create this empire of attraction and repulsions and games of thrones and powers, and we create sufferings with the world that we create. We see God, when we have a lot of abundance, he wants us to become like him, little gods. And then he gives us a company, he gives us a family, and then gives us things to do on a small level. And he says, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to be good? Are you going to do good? Or are you going to do negative, evil? Or are you going to do a little bit of both? And then this project, this abundance, this family, this company is only there for one reason. Not for you only to think about having lots of money. It's only there for you to develop qualities, to become a better person. That's the only thing, friends. All dreams and life that is a dream also, a day-to-day dream is only there to evolve. That's the mysteries, the secrets of the universe. That's the reason why we experiment matter. We are a spirit that takes a form in a body to experiment, to manifest ourselves, and to see who we are through everything that we create, everything that we put in place. So having fairy tales, like it's like a the fairy tales are related to the stories and that are magical and all this beautiful aspects, but mixed with dark situation. That means that you have to work on this dark side of you, which is your shadow percentage. You're not only that, but then you need to challenge that. You need to transform. You need to think about that. And then you're going to recognize your life. Because these fairy tales, these stories that you were seeing in dreams, they were also becoming realities for you. So even if it was all kind of magical thing, then you go in real life and you're going to see that life is as magical as your fairy tales in dreams. It is such a beautiful fairy tale when we think about it. When we have our brother-in-law, this thing is happening and this and this and that at work and the TV and the everything. our inspirations or our knowledge also challenges that we need through every sources that comes to us are there for us to think and to develop new qualities and to improve ourselves. So before my wife is going now to make a sharing for the next for the last half hour of our webinar. We have a lot of questions also about this new program that we have offering with the UCM Publishing Foundation. So it's called Dream Signs and Symbol Interpretations. It's a DSSI training courses. So it's a wonderful program that we have been given in French for a few years now. We have therapists, psychologists, doctors, nurses, or only people that they want to understand dreams on the personal development, and it's amazing. This is really a great training. So people, you can have information by going on the website of our nonprofit organization. You'll see the general information, and the next the beginning of this certificate will start in next February 2016. So the classes, the way it works, it's very easy. It's an online, mainly an online training, but there are 2 workshops during the year. So there are the 2 workshops of 4 days during the year, and that's going to be given, one in February and one in November, and it's going to be in India. So of course, for certain of you, because we're people from other countries that comes to India, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful occasion to visit India, and then we have a 4 days session there, and then the rest of the year is an online training. We have dream journal interpretation revised by all our teachers every week. So it's absolutely amazing. We have classes like this, that we are giving 4 hours classes. There's a whole program that you can see that is very interesting. We have also the books, the different books like the dictionary, the source code, that is a very important international bestseller now in many countries, and that is becoming the reference on dreams. And it's like we're very proud, the foundation, to work and to help this knowledge to be provided everywhere now on the planet. And we have other dreams, yes, other books about the work that we can do with angels. And for us, the angel is a perfect symbol of the dreamer, so we can use the angel mantra to develop the dreams. And angels are all about dreams and symbols, and so it's very profound. So these 3 books are really keys if you want to connect with this teaching. So of course, the DSSI training is suitable for everyone, not only for doctors, not only for psychiatrists. It's really for everyone if you want to become a therapist, etc. But it's a very serious training. It's not just like a weekend and we give you a certificate. It's like it's a program. It's a 3 years program for the certificate, but you can do 1 year, and if you want it, if you like it, then you can continue. There's no obligation, but it's really something that is creating a huge difference for everybody, and it's for all people. It's really suitable for everyone. So that is like very interesting to discover. You have all the information on our website. So let's take an intermission of 5 minutes, and then my wife Christiane will be there with you, and she will continue the sharing with other dreams and symbols to continue this learning process of this webinar. So angelic blessings to all of you.
I would like to welcome you. It's a great joy for me to share this beautiful teaching with you. So I'm going to continue with a dream. You will see how it is so important to be able to interpret our dreams. This dream is called Become More Concrete. You will see it's a dream of a young girl. She is 7 years old, and this dream was sent by her mother. You will see, thanks to one dream, we can accompany our children. We can understand them better, and it's easier to bring them up better. When we know how to interpret a dream, we enter the essence, the quintessence of a program, and we have also a global vision. So it's something extraordinary. So let's start together to read first this dream, and then we will analyze it together. So it starts in Disneyland, in a strange place. I ask groundhogs to please not lift off my feet, but they don't hear me. So I ask the beavers, can you ask your friends not to push my feet? The groundhogs listen to me, but then they go underground again. Then we go back to the entrance. Mom says the doors are going to open soon. There I see a girl wearing a Barbie dress. I think it's Barbie. And I tell her I saw the film Barbie in the 12 Dancing Princesses. So you will see, through this dream, we can see a new program for this child. It is so interesting. So it starts with Disneyland. No dream is an equation. It starts and we analyze each symbol. And so it starts from Disneyland. So we just have to think, okay, how do I feel? How do a child feel when he's in Disneyland? It creates a state of conscience. In the plus, a state of conscience of magical things. It's an amusement park. Joy, enthusiasm is a playground. Remember, whenever a child when he plays with a toy, he's always in a learning phase, is learning something. For example, when a young girl plays with a doll, she's learning, in fact, to take care of others, to become a mother in the future. So toys, games are so important, but of course there is always the plus and the minus. So here we see that it's this kind of state of consciousness, fairy ambience, etc. But we see in the dream in a strange place. It is as if she doesn't know something new that she doesn't know yet. A new program that she's going to discover. Then we see, I ask groundhogs to please not lift up my feet, but they don't hear me. You see that she's a very delicate child, very refined, polite. It's not like a bear, or she's not aggressive, very delicate. So we have to analyze the groundhogs. Every time we see an animal in a dream, it is related, symbolically speaking, to our vital energy, to our needs. And it's something very important to master one day our needs, to get the positive aspects of all animals, their strength, etc., their qualities, but to transcend their weaknesses, their distortions. And in having the quality of animals, we get more grounded. That's very important. So we see a new program, and groundhogs, they, if we analyze it's an animal, so we were general, but then we have to know more better, more deeply the behavior of a groundhog, or in some countries we call them marmot. How do they behave? A groundhog is very different from a tiger or a bear. So it's related to our instincts, the world of action. It's not a bird. It's the groundhog is on earth. So it's related to the earth element. Memories related to action for this young girl that we're going to call Angelina. And that seek elevation from matter, because a lot of marmots, and she lives in a country close to high mountains, and she has sometimes seen, marmots that were up in the mountains. So it's a symbol of elevation regarding, the instinctual energy. Live in high mountains, capable of controlling themselves and living in peace. It's a peaceful animal. And burrow, they dig into the earth, and also hibernation for 5 months. It's underground, and we see that the groundhog is coming from the underground. So whatever is underground is always related to the subconscious and unconscious when it's more deeply, in the earth. So we see that's an energy, vital energy, instinctual energy, needs also, that was, more hidden, more unconscious, is emerging. That's very important. And we see that it's a vegetarian, herbivorous animal, and usually they are more pacifist. So it's not aggressive, but a new need is coming. So what does it mean? Because you see, it's, the groundhog is lifting, pushing her feet. So in her unconscious, there are instinctual forces that want to materialize, to become more concrete, not just spiritual in the way she advances, because it's the feet. She could, have touched another part of the body. Here is the feet. Feet is really a symbol of action. Actions we advance, it's concrete. So something new is emerging in this child. It's a new program. It seems banal or even funny because she talks to the animals and it's delicate, but you will see it's very important. And this is how we can understand our children. And when we understand our children, remember, friends, we understand ourselves. When we have children around us, it can be our own children or, any child. In fact, it's a symbol for our inner child, but also project how we materialize. It's our future. So we understand ourselves so much better when we have this vision, inner vision always. So we see that, but they don't hear me. It means that, okay, there is a new energy emerging in me from my unconscious, my needs, my vital energy, and I don't master them. I can't control them for the time being. But we see that, that's difficulty mastering our instincts. We see that her Disney dynamic was too strong, too fairy tale like a princess, because we see after, it's the Disneyland, but with princess, because she mentioned, in the dream, the Barbie. So it's like, a princess living in an ideal world, but not real, not concrete because of the Barbie. And now she wants to become more incarnated. The fairy tale, magical things, yes, they can be still magical things, but I want things to be more real, more tangible. That's the message in this dream. It's very important. And then we see that she asked the beavers, can you ask your friends not to push my feet? See, she's very polite. That's funny, but I can imagine her. That's typical. She speaks so well. She has been brought up with symbolic language, and she's calm, she's relaxed, and very, very, very beautiful soul. So we see the beavers is quite different from the groundhog. On aggressive instincts, again, it's not aggressive, related to the emotional wall. You may say, why emotional wall? Because it's an animal, because it's a semi-aquatic. It means it is both in water, in the rivers, it is often in the rivers, building dams, etc. And it is also on the earth. Remember, friends, the earth element, when you see something on the earth, is always related to our actions, the world of our actions. And when we see water, it is related to the water element, and it is always related to our emotions. So we see that, and it's a hard working. Here, the beaver, we see afterwards that it has a positive influence on the groundhogs because they listen afterwards. So it means that when there is a dynamic, emotional dynamic, she is more receptive. You see, that's very important also to understand that. The groundhogs listen to me, but then they go underground again. It means, okay, I have managed momentarily to control this force, not to let me be disturbed in my advancement, how the way I advance, but it will come back again. This is why she said, but then they go underground again. So you see, if we synthesize that, also the notion of her vital energy because it's an animal, she manages to become more receptive and so can better master her instincts that want to be more tangible, more real. This dream is very important. This dream announces a change of program for her, and she would like it's what I said to the mother. She would like your spirit comments to be more concrete because the mother is very spiritual, but sometimes too much airy, very, very spiritual. But now look, talk to me spiritually, but be more concrete. You see, that's the message. Very important message. And then we go to the entrance. Mom says the doors are going to open soon. So we see again a new program, a new beginning, because a door is always a symbol of, you wait for an opening. Something is going to be open to a new state of conscience. When you go through a door, oops, something is very different after. So it's a beginning, a new beginning related to what represents Disney, all this Disney enjoyment, fairy tales, etc., but more airy. Now there is something new because of the groundhogs and beavers. And the mom, it's her interior, it's a part of her. And when the father and the mother are present, is always also a symbol of apprenticeship because we will learn with them. So in her interior, it was written in this dream, her program, a new beginning, something new is coming. And we see that there I see a girl wearing a Barbie dress. I think it's Barbie. And I tell her I saw the film Barbie in the 12 Dancing Princesses. You see, it's all this fairy tales with princesses because the Barbie was very positive in this dream. She was well dressed, she was kind, she was eloquent, very refined. So it was positive. So you see, we have to do an equation. New program for also the princesses is a symbol of power. Every time we see a king, a queen, a prince, princess, it's always related to the power. Wealth, normally there is a certain abundance. And what do? They are positive if the king or the queen or the princess have qualities and they are altruistic, they share their wealth and their qualities with others, but otherwise it can be a power that is misused if, the king or the princess is egoistical, selfish, etc. So here in that case, we see that they still look beautiful. Of course, we could analyze the number 12. When we work with the angels, there is an angel, number 12, Hahayah. It's refuge, meditation. It's a full cycle. We could say a lot of things about that. And here I see somebody saying, "Hi, Christian, would you like to give an example of how the mother could be more concrete spiritually? Please explain that." I will explain that just after. You'll see there is a concrete example that is coming, so you will have your answer with that. So here we see that if we know, when there is a dream like that, we have to know the story of the movie, because it's important. It appears in the dream, so it's important to know it. And in that movie, the princesses realize, because there are several princesses, they realize that the story contains clues on how to enter the magical kingdom from their own bedroom by dancing on specific stones on the floor inside the magical kingdom. The princesses discover that the water has got healing properties. Everybody can understand, this movie or this images on a certain level. But it is so interesting when we know symbolic language, because we can even deepen our knowledge. As I said, princesses is going to trigger in our memories, in the memories of children, power, how it is used. And also, from the bedroom is the intimacy, where we dream, when we rest. I can have access to a magical world, beautiful world. Also, the princess is renowned, and it's not only power, but it's renowned, celebrity, etc. And we see that there are magical stones. Stones is related to the mineral kingdom. Mineral kingdom, which is also related to the word of action. Ancient actions. Okay, memories with ancient actions. And they are beautiful flowers. Flowers related to the vegetable kingdom, the feelings, sentiments, beautiful emotions. So when you have recorded beautiful feelings of love that are pure in your memories of action, and how the way you have advanced, you see, again, it's related to the shoes, how you advance. Wow, you have access to a beautiful state of conscience where it's magical, where the water has got healing properties. Water, remember, we've seen that is related to emotions. When your emotions are pure and beautiful, they can heal. Pure love can heal, but as Kaya explained before, sometimes some people, they have to go through certain stages. Everything is so important. And so we see that for her, okay, there is a magical kingdom, but this magical kingdom is not only on certain part of my consciousness. Now I want to be more incarnated. This is why the groundhogs was pushing, the feet. I want this. It's not just in my head or in my thoughts or a fairy tale where everything is ideal. Now I want to embody that. So it's the beginning of a program. You see, that's very important. And these new children's, they are very open, and they help, adults to be more incarnated. And that was the message of that young girl. And you see, that will be the answer to one of you. The story continues, because several months after that dream, and this dream was interpreted in the journal, of the mother. This person, the mother of Angelina, is part of this DSSI program training, and as Kaya explained, the students send every week a dream, and it's an individual teaching, because every week the students send their dreams and they analyze them and then we revise them. So that was one of the dreams she sent, you see, and she had the answer. So I said that. And several months after, there was an Angelica summer camp, which welcomes both adults and children, and we give also workshops for children, different workshops from than the adults. And Angelina was there, and she was very happy. She was enjoying, and I had a conversation with her mother, and Angelina was not there. And her mother told me, here she's very happy, she's joyful, but for the last few months she was bored. I did all sorts of things and she was not happy, and she was often saying, Mom, I'm bored. And yet I was doing activities, I was looking after her, I was trying to do all sorts of activities, but very often she was complaining that she was bored. So we went further in that, and I said, you see, she is sending you a message. Okay, you do your best, you're a good mom, I know you're a good mom, you do your best, but her message is that you are too airy, too up in the air, too abstract. And this is the message. This is why you can do any activities with her, but you are too in the air. It's not tangible enough for her, not concrete enough. This is why she's bored. She's passing on a message to you. And so the mother said, but I feel that I'm quite grounded now because I do a lot of projects. So yes, when you do your projects, you are motivated, but when you are with your child, is again sometimes it's too small for you, and you are not completely present, and she feels it, and this is why she tells you, I'm bored. That's the message. So and there I said, remember your dreams you had several months ago, where she was, the groundhogs was lifting her feet, and it was a message. Even if the groundhogs, went back underground, but it was not over. She was going to come back. Mom, the fairy tales, to be airy is not enough for me. Now I want to be more grounded, and you too. You have to help me. That was so cute. And imagine what happened. We were talking about that, and she said the same. Give me examples how I can do that. So I gave example to be more concrete in her energy. And Angelina came at that moment, right at that moment, a few minutes, and she said to her mother, Mom, I would like to change my shoes. Imagine. She was wearing flip-flops, very light sandals. And she was telling her mother, I want my shoes to go into the forest, to walk in the woods, because where we give the camp, summer camp, there are beautiful woods. I want that. So the mother, she knows symbolic language, said, okay, now it's quite clear. The message is clear and loud to me. I understand, because she could understand that she was, her soul was saying, yes, that's exactly that I want to be more concrete, and you have to help me to be also more present, concrete with me, because shoes, it's a symbol of concrete advancing in social situations in society. And the woods, you just have to realize in the woods there are animals. So again, it's related to our vital energy. There are trees, flowers. It's the vegetable kingdom. So it's a mixture of instincts, needs, also our emotions. So now I want to be more grounded, and because I go in the woods, in my inner woods, and I want to become more concrete, because my objective is to marry spirit and matter. And Mom, that's also your own program. You're that's very, very important. So that was the conclusion, and she was very, very happy. So that's what ends this beautiful webinar. So thank you for taking part to this webinar, and the next webinar will take place on September 26th, and it will be a great joy with my husband and I to continue to share this beautiful teaching, and to share, the improvements we go through when we know symbolic language. It helps us to become a better soul, a better person. So I wish you a good continuation in your path, on your path, and God bless you. Angelic blessings.